Come with the family, but our number one goal is African Black sovereignty. That's the we can keep repeating, community meetings or rallies, all that stuff. Liberation, self-determination, sovereignty, having control, self-governing. Now, first of all, let me say, it is no secret that there's a whole big controversy or debate around this ADOS and Foundation of Black American movement. Um, Sometimes it gets outright becomes a clown show. Sometimes because I find sometimes the people that are representing it aren't representing it well. So, but one of the reasons we have you here is you're one of the people I think that's going to really help us intellectually understand it, culturally, the political implications. All right. So supporters of this FBA, they argue that the Foundation of Black American Movement represents self-determination of Black people in the United States. Now, from a Pan-African perspective, where does that argument align? And where does that argument fall short? So, I think that's a wonderful and excellent question. Um, and I know you have the answer just by how you asked it. And I think that when it aligns that Pan Africanism understands that you have to take care of yourself where you are. African people, wherever they are, have to do what they have to do to survive and thrive in their geographic locale. But when it doesn't, when it's short, let me say, is that it doesn't include the global family. And because it doesn't include the global family, it's short-sighted. That's where I see the difference. Certainly, if we look at centering it, let's say, in Black Power movement, that was definitely nice as a Pan-Africanist. We saw ourselves, and we saw the movement as being part of a global African. Some of us even said that because of our unique experiences with Europeans here, that we were new Africans. Right? But that concept that I'm African wasn't something we ran away from, was scared of, wanted to fight over, right? What do you think is lost politically or strategically when we narrow our understanding of our identity rather than expanding it to include our people in the diaspora? If I could, I just want to start by saying I think there's also some strength in being able to look at your unique experience. Oh my God. So I just want to be clear that there's strength in it's okay to identify where you are. I think we should do more of that for self-pride here in the United States and wherever you are. I think you should focus on to some degree, to a great degree, what you've accomplished where you are. But where it falls short, when you remove yourself from your origin, your motherland, I mean, it's so much that you kind of disconnect yourself from. Disconnect yourself from your true story. Disconnect yourself from your all the accomplishments and the land mass that your ancestors have fought on, have harvested for good. Still not wisdom of your ancestors. For gold, accomplishments of your ancestors for gold. I mean, just so much. But if I really had to speak to this in a different way, they don't care. And what I mean by that is FBA, ADOS, they don't care about it. What they forgo is healing. And what they forgo is really dealing with the fact that they have trauma. What they forgo is this return that is needed to liberate you on an individual level, but also us collectively. And the fact that we've been taught to hate ourselves after is a part of that trauma. So they think they're doing something new. But really, what I would say is they've been re-traumatized many of them. my dear brothers and sisters who find themselves, who used to be Pan-Africanists, who used to be Black nationalists, who used to be uh, fighting for us collectively here and continentally and also diasporically, and become burnt out. So when you talk about trauma, it's essential to note that returning home is a part of the healing process. And returning to some safe place is a part of the healing process. So you're in New York, and when 9/11 happened, the research shows that those who were able to escape that area and return home was less likely to come back to a level place, homeostasis. They were able to forego becoming traumatized. Those who were not able to return home, their cortisol levels stayed high. And what it did was put them in a traumatic state that they now have to heal from. So I would argue, and I argue that not being able to return home, just think about that little incident. I'm not saying it's little in impact. I'm saying that little piece of time when these buildings were blown up, and they compared it against us who came across these borders and how long that took, and then and land, and then going through this process of never returning home. And I'm saying never returning home physically, never returning home intellectually. If people didn't have rest, we to lay down. So that's very important. And I hope people watching this will not skim over that. That's a very important point. How do you think that movements that emphasize exclusivity or this idea of lineage risk reproducing the same divisions that colonialism imposed on African people worldwide? Do you think there's a case for that? I don't think they risk repeating or doing the same as. I think it is an extension of colonialism. I think it is, I mean, pardon to use this reference, but if you look at Paul Freire, and he speaks to the sub-oppressors. And I like to just be straight and frank that Paul Freire, his theory, I can't ever say it in the Latin way, but it's conscientious, let's think critical consciousness. It actually came about as a result of him working with the indigenous scholars there, black scholars, and he even stated that this sub-oppressor is an essential aspect of maintaining the system. And also, so it's not like they're looking to overthrow anything. So and it's not like they're fighting the oppressive system itself. They are trying to maintain the oppressive system and get what they can out of it. Their goal is in the meat of this USA. They will literally wrap themselves in American flags or create their own version of the American flag for black people. They will say that I'm American before they say I'm African. They will say that I'm not African American, I'm black. They will say all these things. They are very anti-African. But this idea of game theory and how there's players and then there's people being played. And he said there's people who know about the setup and there's people who just think to protect the setup. There's people who have no idea about what being set up in the first place. This is just how they know the world. So there's people that participate in these different alphabet groups, such as ADOS and FBA, who have different levels of awareness about what this is. Some people know it's a setup. It's a operation to cause division. Where there's others who are trying to protect it nonetheless, and for whatever reason, and then there's people who just are lost and don't know at all what's going on. So, what am I saying? I'm saying there's people who really mean well, actually identify with these groups, and there's people, in essence, who have created it, and there's people who know about it and know about these people creating it, but they feel like they're going to get a piece of the pie too. So there's a variety or variation of people who participate in these things for different reasons, with different levels of awareness. Understood. And I want to get right to this, Dr. Asar. What would your critique be, generally, of FBA or ADOS or those type of movements in the community? What is the general critique? My critique is that they're lying. Okay. You say get straight to it. So, I mean,
I'm not gonna try.
I would say
I'm not gonna do
that
I'm just saying it's my call.
information being projected, perpetuated by people who don't mean us well, some oppressors. Say they're not leaders, but are using this apparatus called YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and all the social platforms and even forms of DVD.
I didn't need like about 40 minutes.
Like, and this guy helps for their own personal interests. And in that, they come up with new schemes every 3 to 5 years.
And I try to look at it again. We gotta watch this.
To stay in their mansions and to keep their Bentleys and to keep their pockets full.
So,
but they're misguiding people when people buy into it. And they just tell people this is a lineage. But it's more than a lineage. It's not even a lineage. What is a lineage? I mean, they can determine, find it in a way that has never been defined before.
I said, my mom must be having fun. Something else. She ain't going. Remember, she was high. Yeah, look at the.
Which is a fallacy. But they're trying to usurp the data, trying to that's what you feel they already are become the oppressor. I'm saying they already are. I'm saying they already are some oppressors. It's not a when they become, they are already doing and using the tools.
I'm doing it 1 second. I told you that when I go live and do a reaction, I don't want to screen, I don't want to share their video, right? So I would show my own thumbnail click on the back. I don't want to move the channel. But when you go live on your phone, you just every time I can choose late tonight. There's that option there. And you share videos, you get their entire thing. So right now I'm just recording this video with my thumbnail. That's not when I'm uploading my thing. So when I say this content, my thumbnail. Because like I'm the bigger challenge when I share the video, I'm actually helping them grow. So they don't mind if I do that. All right, can you help me grow?
In America.
It's
all about fighting us for what we believe is effective.
Not if they can't see the channel, they're not looking at no name here. You is a average person.
Almost leaders haven't had. Inside of all of it. And when
You don't
people
put it
create
on the table and give it to them, they're not going to.
ideologies, that's what I think it's, and that's what I'm saying. There's an ideology, there's an ideological component to FBA, and that is why, just to kind of cap off the question you asked me earlier, why I diverge, because
No
they're
matter
not
how much I
being
brag
honest about the
FBA
ideology. And
and all
again,
these
I
other
think the
black
fight
guys,
is that the
they're
ideology is
never going to let
anti-African
these
and
guys up.
anti-Pan-African.
They're never going to let them up. So I got to play the video, documentary. They're never going to look them up themselves. No matter how much credit I give them, big them up. So you got to watch this. None of that shit works. The average person wants to give it to you. You heard people ask you questions.
Some other shit. And I think about smiling like you're thinking about black hair. Times it's not until they come here that they realize what black really is. They don't even understand the significance of it. It's totally different. Clips like that is evidence that they don't get down with you. In fact, maybe some of them hurt. Maybe some of them do. Maybe some of them understand what black is. But you have to understand that this idea of race means way more in America or the United States than anywhere else. So you cannot hold people accountable for their lack of understanding of race because that is not their reality. That's a very good point. It's like we need a little bit more nuance. What you say, Professor? A little bit more nuance. We need nuance, and the problem with nuance is not, it's not a problem with nuance. The problem with actually being more nuanced is that when one has not healed, they refuse to see nuance because nuance becomes a threat to their very being. And I'm saying in all of us, including us, Pan-Africanists and African nationalists. Like, look, I'm not trying to take up for white people. Let's keep it a buck. But we give white people too much damn power. And what I mean by that is because we lack nuance. I think Dr. Amos Wilson even talks about it when he talks about the white Brooklyn man. And we think that this white man, and when I say this white man is not all what you say is, you think I'm taking up for him. I just want you to see the nuance. Aren't. Some of them are not the president the way you say they're the president. Some of them are miseducated. Some of them are less educated. Some of them have probably on an individual level less power, control, education,